Hey everyone, what's going on? Joey here, and currently we're in Wildwood, Crest in front of the Oceanview Motel. And by now, I'm pretty sure you know the entire story. I can link back to the other videos in the comment section if you really want me to, but I wanted to give you guys an update on this project because there's a lot of things that took place. And so before we get started, make sure you subscribe, you turn on notifications, and you give this video a thumbs up. Let's get started. So let me go ahead and just kind of recap you with the meeting situation. On February 15th, there was supposed to be a meeting to talk about this building. As you know, we're trying to save the lobby for it. And we were trying to work with the new owners and of course New Jersey's DEP, which would recognize this building of having some kind of historical significance, which it does in the state of New Jersey. And so February 15th meeting, they reschedule it to March 15th. Then from March 15th, they reschedule it all the way to April 19th. Well, as you know by now, April 19th came and gone, and we didn't present, nothing happened. What happened, Joey? Well, let me explain it to you. You see, every single week, I'm on the public notices. I'm calling, seeing what's going on, what permits, what things are taking place for this one building. And out of nowhere, when the minutes came up for the April 19th meeting, this wasn't on there. This was no longer on there. So I called the city and I said, hey, is there even an application anymore? Because normally the way it works is before you present anything, it has to be publicly out there, which is why you see the public notices. And after a while, you have to renew it. Or there's a lot of weird rules, not to get into it. But when it was removed from the minutes, that normally tells you that that application is no longer valid. Well, according to the city, there's no longer an application. The original design and all that stuff is now no longer considered a part of the zoning board minutes or agenda for the future. So what does that mean? There's many things that can mean. One is maybe we got lucky and maybe the new owners want to go ahead and redesign this space with this building in place. Maybe they decided, you know what, we don't want to do anything with it, and maybe they pulled out. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they're working on something else we just don't know about. And so at this moment, we're kind of up in the air of what's going to happen with this. Now I'm going to go ahead and just show you something real quick, because since our last video, you'll notice there's a lot more wood over here. I kind of find it funny, and the reason why is because there's a fire beam on the other end that did fail, unfortunately. And when it comes to this building and the structure, there's really not that much damage. There is some kind of corrosion. I mean, it was built in the 60s. Anything built in the 60s that's next to a beach has to go through things. I mean, let's go back to 2006, 2007, when the condo boom took place. Most of those balconies had to be ripped down and rebuilt. Kind of like the same situation here, where you got steel out here. Of course, over time, you have to maintain it. Well, the one piece did break a little bit in the end, which actually was the far one, which collapsed. Now, we were here when that happened, like not the day that it happened, we were here later on that day. This glass and that glass, there was absolutely no damage. So for them to put this wood up was like, huh? Well, it didn't make any sense. So looking at this structurally, they probably just needs a new roof and a couple other things. But the rest of the building, the pool deck in the back and a couple other areas, have heavy structure issues. And so one thing down here is the mayor actually came forward and said, you know what? Because of that, it's not safe. We can't let you open up this entire hotel until this is fixed. Well, we're now, what, the end of April? And I don't think there's enough time to actually fix said process. I mean, you're talking about, if you zoom in all the way down to the end, you're talking about taking down all of those things and rebuilding it in some way and fixing up some of the other structures. And keep in mind that they never even closed this hotel down in the wintertime. Because normally what you do is you close the pool, you bring in everything inside. They never did that, leaving everything into the elements. It looks like at this point, the owners will not be able to open up this motel this summer, which is unfortunate. If they could only fix up X amount of things, they would have been able to go ahead and open up. So where does that leave us? I don't really know. It's kind of a weird question of where do we go from here? You know, the downside about this kind of project and someone pulling out of this is the question of, well, now it's going to sit exposed. These metal beams are going to be out here. That beam is sitting not even, there's no supports underneath of it holding it up. Could it potentially get to the point to where it's condemned? And that's one thing we have to go ahead and keep an eye on. You see, there are weird rules where if a building gets to a point to where it is unsafe for society, they could potentially get a judge to vote and say that it's condemned. And legally, if something's condemned, you have to tear it down. And so that's something we need to keep an eye on for this building. You know, this is a big historical building, one of its last in New Jersey. And if they were to condemn it, unfortunately, we would really have no say. But we are working on a few different things with New Jersey's DEP. We're trying to get this landmarked. And if we can get it landmarked, and this is specifically to anyone that actually wanted to buy this property, we could potentially get you grants and other kinds of money to fix up this one building. I mean, this building is gorgeous. I mean, just pan over at it. You don't have anything like this in New Jersey. It's one of a kind. You know, this is a great example of doo-wop here in Wildwood Crest. I mean, this is like, the best way I always explain it to people is, when you think of Wildwood Crest and us having the most modern mid-century motels or just mid-century in general buildings down here, this is an example of it. This is an iconic piece of Wildwood Crest that does need to be saved. So anyway, for the moment, that is my update for you. I wish I had more information. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, yes, we're happy the project didn't go through, but we wanted our day in front of the board so that way we can convince everyone that this needs to stay. But we are still working on things in the background. Still working with New Jersey's DEP. Hopefully in the next month we'll be able to get some kind of answer on that, and then whoever buys it can incorporate this design into the building. I mean, they can keep this and make this in part into condos if they really wanted to. I mean, there's so many things you could do with this building. Common space, make it a party room, so many, I mean, keep it a lobby. There's so many amazing things in there. Anyway, so that is the update. And so I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. And a special thank you out to my Patreons on patreon.com. Because of you guys that I get to spend hours on trying to save history like this. If you too want to go ahead and support this channel, all you have to do is click the links in the description below. Anyway, I'm Joey. I'll see you guys on the beach, which is right over here, and it's warm enough too. I actually don't even need this jacket. So I'll see you later. Bye.